Welcome to Knauf's InterHome. InterHome is a separating wall system, also known as a party wall or an intertenancy wall. As the name implies, it's designed for separating side-by-side residential dwellings, such as townhouses and duplexes, up to 3 stories in height. InterHome has been designed and tested to satisfy the fire safety, sound insulation and structural requirements of the Building Code of Australia for separating walls. Dwellings using InterHome can be constructed using either timber or steel framing. A key feature of InterHome is the central fire barrier, built between the double stud frame. This allows both wall cavities to carry surfaces except gas, without compromising fire or acoustic performance. It's quick, economical and very importantly designed to manage health and safety concerns with respect to ease of construction. InterHome can be constructed by the site carpenters at the same time the framing is erected. This presentation will show how easy InterHome is to construct and the benefits of using InterHome. But first of all, let's take a look at the materials and components that come together to make the InterHome wall. Once the carpenters have erected the frame for one of the dwellings, the process is as follows. The central fire barrier starts at the footings or ground slab and finishes at the underside of the roof. Fix the J-track, Rondo P140 or equivalent, to the floor at least 20 mm from the existing frame. A series of timber spacers can be cut to assist with this process. The J-track must run the full length of the wall and be fixed at 600 mm intervals and not more than 150 mm from each end. The InterHome central fire barrier is built in 3-metre high modular sections, up to the roof lining. The plasterboard used in the central fire barrier between the H-studs is not required to be fixed into place with screws. The H-stud is designed to encase either 2 layers of 13 mm fire shield or 1 layer of 25 mm shaft liner by tight friction fit. Cut the 25 mm shaft liner to the appropriate height if required. Then, starting from one end, insert the bottom of the shaft liner into the J-track. Cover the outermost vertical edge of the shaft liner with a J-track. Continue the wall by fitting in H-stud to the free edge of the shaft liner. Secure the central fire barrier using the InterHome aluminium clips. The aluminium clips connect every H-stud to the top plate of the frame. Use a 16 mm self-drilling wafer head screw to fix the aluminium clip to the H-stud and a 25 mm needlepoint screw to fix the aluminium clip into the timber frame. Use the spacer to position the central fire barrier away from the frame. Remove the spacer after fixing the aluminium clip. Place the corner of the next shaft liner into the J-track and the other bottom corner into the H-stud at an angle as shown. Engage the shaft liner fully into the H-stud and the J-track, resulting in a tight fit. Repeat this process to create the central fire barrier along the full length of the frame. It's likely that the last shaft liner will require cutting to align it with the end of the frame. As previously described, cover the cut edge with a J-track to cap the end of the central fire barrier. Next, place J-track over the top edge of the central fire barrier, encapsulating the cut edge of the shaft liner and covering the ends of the H-stud. It may be necessary to use a broad knife or screwdriver to fit the J-track over the top edge of the central fire barrier. To enable construction of the next 3-metre module, screw fix another J-track back-to-back on top of the first 3-metre module. Use 16mm self-drilling wafer head screws at 600mm intervals and not more than 150mm from each end. The central fire barrier can now be installed up to the underside of the roof, adjacent to the end roof truss. The second module is installed in exactly the same manner as the lower 3-metre module. For convenience, pre-cut the H-studs to match the roof line. Allow the shaft liner to extend beyond the top of the truss, and then the excess can be trimmed. At this stage, the shaft liner should cover the entire frame. Once again, place J-track over the top and sides of the central fire barrier. Ensure aluminium clips are installed along the top chord of the truss, as well as the top plates. It's important to emphasize that the central fire barrier is the primary fire barrier and must not be penetrated in any way, either due to services or damage. As the walls have the benefit of additional plasterboard to enhance fire performance, it's necessary to also provide additional fire protection to within the roof cavity. Knauf has developed a quick and easy way to maintain the system's integrity by overlaying a single layer of 16mm fire shield to the shaft liner. Firstly, measure 200mm below the top plate of the wall frame and mark a horizontal line along the length of the wall using a chalk line. This serves as the bottom reference line for overlaying the 16mm fire shield. Protruding screws can be placed along the chalk line in the centre of the H-studs. This will assist with the support and alignment of the 16mm fire shield whilst being fixed. Fix the 16mm fire shield to the shaft liner using 40mm 10-gauge laminating screws at 400mm vertical and horizontal centres across the entire face. The laminating screws should be kept 50mm from all the edges. The 16mm fire shield should extend out over the eaves, providing a fire barrier in this section of the dwelling. 51mm steel track can now be cut and folded to provide a cap around the roof area, including the underside of the eaves. This should slip freely over both the shaft liner and the 16mm fire shield layers. If the InterHome wall is to be left at this stage for more than 1 month, use plastic sheeting to protect it from rain and excessive moisture. At this point of the installation, the second frame can now be erected a minimum of 20mm away from the central fire barrier on the opposite side to the existing frame. The aluminium clips can then be installed in the same manner and position as the other frame. The installation of the outer layers of the InterHome system is carried out by the plastering contractor, at the same time that the internal linings are done. The Knauf InterHome system is now complete. Safety should be of paramount importance when installing the InterHome system. It's an expectation that the relevant safety requirements of the particular construction site are observed. For the purposes of estimating material requirements and costs, Knauf has developed an easy-to-use estimator. This is available to you by contacting your local Plastermaster store. This presentation, prepared by Knauf, shows how easy and fast the InterHome system can be constructed. A comprehensive InterHome technical guide is available by contacting your nearest Plastermaster store, the Knauf Customer Service Centre on 1300 724 505, or by downloading a copy from www.knaufplasterboard.com.au. The InterHome Technical Guide must be referred to for all system and installation details.